Bro, recent African countries was just discovered. A lot of them was just discovered in the 1900s and shit.
Ebana. The unmitigated temerity. You do know that you can amplify the voices of African Americans intellectually, right? Africans act like super Africans. African countries were only discovered in the 1900s. What? I think you might have been confusing that with independence. They gained their independence, not discovered. But let me help you find your way back home, because what you said is not just historically inaccurate. It sounded like the echo of a colonized tongue speaking over an erased memory. Ejo, Africa was not discovered. It was invaded, renamed, and disfigured by foreign hands. The same hands of the people who couldn't pronounce the rivers that they drowned in while trying to conquer. Before the name America existed, before the slave ships landed on our ports, before the enslavement of people who looked like you and I, Africa had been birthing civilizations. Furthermore, civilizing the West. Africa birthed scholars, philosophers, astronomers, and empires that rivaled the very myths you were raised on. Foolish confidence to say African countries were just discovered yesterday, an ancient continent of many nations. We must not be talking about the same Africa. Are we talking about the same Africa? The same land where Mali housed universities before Oxford? Where Timbuktu's libraries overflowed while Europe was drowning in the Dark Ages? The same Africa where Zimbabwe constructed stone cities without slave labor? Or stolen blueprints? The same Africa where we find the doggone people who charted the stars before NASA had a language for it? And yet you're here, parroting colonial talking points on an app that your ancestors never asked for? Yo, your textbooks lied to you. There were scrubs cleaned with missionary soap dipped in white Jesus, nah. To you as education, while your real inheritance rotted in museums behind glass. You're not angry at us because we act super African. You're angry at us because you were born cut off, disconnected from the soil, the language, the rhythm. So deeply that I'm sure when you hear African knowledge, it sounds foreign to your ears. I once spoke to an African elder who said, some Africans were stolen from memory, stolen from divinity. Stolen from the very beat your heart once drummed in time with. So you mock those who hold on to what you lost and say that some African countries were only discovered just yesterday, while these Africans are acting like super Africans. That grief in your throat, it's the echo of your ancestors calling you back. Time to understand that you were the one who was lost. Because the truth is, your history didn't begin on a slave ship. It was interrupted by one. Maybe, just maybe, it's because the museum that still holds your ancestors' bones still hasn't returned them. The end of the day, Africa does not need discovery. We've been thriving long before a border was drawn or a flag touched our soil. Don't see that. It's not because it isn't there. Because your lens is still cracked from generational erasure. I feel like a word of advice, if you ever want to speak on Africa again, do so from a place of humility. Because we all know that the lions of the savannah don't need permission from the sheep to roar. I'm never going to understand this African countries were not discovered. Bruh! Before English existed, we carved philosophy into rock. Or architect aligned with constellations. The same Africa where the people understand the law of the universe and cosmic principles, long before anyone did. Whatever book you're reading from was dunked in imperial ink and washed with shame. That brain malfunction, that interruption, is the reason you're on stolen land calling us names we never gave ourselves. This is why sometimes I just want to give up on Africans. Because for real, folks like this, you really think that we wear our Africanness as a costume? This is something we're born with. Just because your ancestors no longer answer when you call, don't blame us. Blame the silence you inherited when they told you who you were, instead of you knowing yourself. You must not know that African Americans are intelligent and well educated. Many have even traveled to find out the truth. One of the greatest books, The Destruction of Black Civilization, was written by an African American genius. That's the book you need to get, instead of spewing nonsense while igniting a diaspora war as a whole first-gen Sierra Leonean American. your parents?